preposition. Preposition is that they're already taking a form, taking a stand. Let me give instance. There are three guys who were going to another city, and one of them had been prepositioned that it was not supposed to touch because of his ecclesiastic position. He saw a wounded person on the road. Now his preposition founded a position over that person and couldn't help. Another guy who was also like in a church hierarchy saw the same person. Now at that moment, their preposition informed their position, which affected their performance, what they do. And it's because of the way they are seeing themselves. And that's how people are preoccupied by position, preoccupied by their mind construction, how things should be. And they see themselves. And another guy who was seen from the lens of compassion, and the scenes from the place of empathy, was seen from the place of generosity, was seen from the place of responsibility, could not allow himself to see that man who was already half dead. Of course, that person instantly has seen from the place of responsibility, from the place of unity, from the place of oneness, not from the place of separation, and instantly acted. So I'm asking you, how do you see life? How do you see relationship? How do you see your work? How do you see your city? How do you see your nation? How do you see your family? How do you see your friends? And it is the definition, it is the relationship between you and event of life and circumstances that will impact the kind of thought. I mean, so for instance, if you have a TV and you have several channels, just do an experiment. If you tune into a particular channel, you know that you think differently. And it will impact on your belief system right away. If you tune into another channel, it's going to impact on the kind of thought. And I started this experimentation and exploitation long time ago when graciously I lived in a 3-bedroom flat. And I wanted to experience the power of lens. So each of those rooms had different colors. I think I have an off-white, I have blue, and I think I have a green house. And so if I had wanted to do some level of meditation and, move into those solitary moments where I need to be alone, I would choose to move into the blue room. My thought was influenced by that color. That's what I said, the color, color have a way to color our mind, and that's how we see. If I really wanted to be very radical, I move to the off-white because it just have a way to energize us. Because each of those colors have their different energy with which they impact in your lens. Then if I really wanted to be very creative, I move into the green room, constantly. And it shapes, my thoughts on those rooms were quite different. And my belief was quite different. And I got a different experience or kind of emotion. So it is important for us to evaluate, and we need to grow in our lens life. If you don't grow in your lens life, you will not grow externally. It's like seeing the way you have been seeing yourself unworthy, you see yourself weak, you see yourself powerless. There are people who see themselves that nobody is helping me. And they will live their life helplessly because they are seeing life that people have to help them. Oh, they've been seeing themselves, they are rejected by people. They will see rejection because they will now think the thought of rejection. And now when you think the thought of rejection, you embody rejection. And that's what you send into the universal orbit. And that's what comes back to you as a man. What gives shall be given unto you. When we talk about giving, it is not essentially about material things. It is about how do you give your lens life? That means, how do you see your job? You know, there are people who see their job as small. I have a small job. They think small, they act small, they behave small, they feel small. It's like people saying, I have a small business. They never grow. Why? Their lens, they're doing a comparison from external world, and we'll say that when you look externally, put pressure on you. But when you look within, you will see growth. If you want to grow, you cannot look external. External is like a harvest or like a fruiting. Growth is not in fruiting, growth is in the root. And the root is hidden. That's what we'll talk about, the internal and the external lenses. Every time you are ever looking from outside, you are looking wrongly, because outside is a manifestation of certain thought processes. And it is not what you see outside that created outside. It was the thought, the lenses, the inner view that created after that. You know, that's why people think that I talk about success as an end product. No. Success is an effect, a product of a certain lens view, a product of a systematic thought, a product of ideas that has been systematized. You know, you have idealized it and bring it into a concretized method, and that concretized method are put into a system and strategies, and those strategies have to a flow. Now, what you're seeing is an effect. It's like, okay, you suddenly see a guy driving a particular car, and you're envying that person, or you're looking at yourself from that person like, oh, he's driving, we graduated. You don't know what he's doing inside. You're only seeing the car, but you don't know the sacrifice. Let me explain it well. So 2 guys were employed in an organization the same day. And the moment both of them arrived and started work, one of them, by sense of intuition and a knowing, have seen himself travel overseas. So what he started doing, he said from his first month salary, he said, I'm going to save money to make my passport, my travel transport. The other guy there was saying, oh, a classic dressing organization. And there was nothing wrong. Both of them were there. And of course, he started dressing well. He looked like them. He really wanted to conform to the standard of that organization. Nothing wrong with them. So 3 months after, the guy has got his passport and kept it. The next month, and this other guy who looked like them has assumed like them, think like them, and by seeing him, you will think that also, oh, he's been traveling, so he could have a travel document, he has a travel passport. So there's an opportunity for an overseas training. And the boss comes in and says, hey, man, one of you has to go for a training. Do you have I need your international passport so that I can fix over there. The guy was looking at him, was looking like it, but yet he didn't have a travel document. And the other guy said, oh, yeah, I do have. He said, yes, I have a travel document. You see how lens shape instantly their performance. Lens is such a powerful way. It is not a situation that give you lens. You're the one have a lens to define situation. And this is the difference. When you talk about performance, really, it has to do from preposition and position and performance. So your lens shape your future. We're going to dive into certain lens today between the higher self lens and the lower self lens. And we're going to have some attributes, about 8 of them that will help us to see how do we see life. You don't see life from what life is, you see life from who you are. Let me explain it. Now, our Lord Jesus Christ, a very typical personality who understands the power of lens, had a situation. And in this situation, a particular gentleman that he likes and loves so well was ill. And while they were seeing ill personality, he was seeing something different. They say, this death, this particular sickness is not unto death. But they were seeing death. Because, see, they were connected to experiential knowledge. But he connected to what they call creative knowledge. So in both of them, it's shaped by the way they see. So he understands that what lens can do. So eventually he stayed 4 days. He came in. The guy had been buried, and the people were seeing a dead person. He was not seeing a dead person. He was seeing himself. And that's why he made a statement like, I am the resurrection and the life. So he defined the situation. And if I'm a resurrection and life, what does that mean? I give life to dead things. Why? He has seen his father see beauty in ash. This is the conflict I have with people who are faith believed. Who do you see like? Is it your father or the other father? I don't know. So he see himself from the place of responsibility, not from the place of consummation. He sees himself from a place of responsibility. I was just sharing something that you see that when people say they're heartbroken, you have seen yourself as weak. You have seen yourself as helpless. You have seen yourself as fearful. You have seen yourself like you lack personal power. You lack self-confidence. How can somebody disappoint you? I'll give you another instance, okay? There's a gentleman called Paul. Paul had some situation that he sees as obstacle or as painful. And each time he has asked or prayed for the Father to heal or to take away that circumstances, he said, no, I can't. My grace is sufficient. So it dawned on him that what if I change the focus, the lens with which I see this obstacle? He said he matured at that moment and started seeing the situation as a gift. And that gift become an enabler that inspired him to greatness. I've been in a situation also where I was in a low life. I've been inhibited. And this is what we call the dead end. This is what we call, I wasn't seeing flaw. I was seeing opportunity to expand my mental capacity. And I say, no, there's a good in this place. And obviously, that was the beginning of my life because I didn't see that place as a dead end, but I see it as a place of incubation. I'm going to give you another example. Let's say that you are like a particular gentleman called David. David was thrown out from his house and became the chief servant in the house. And when he got to the backside, let's say that you've been rejected. Like some of us would say, I'm rejected, because you're seeing that acceptance is to be in a certain pleasurable position, or in terms of surplus of niceness, what we call niceness. So to him at that moment, what has happened is that he was rejected. But he didn't see rejection as an obstacle. He saw rejection as a place to develop his mental capacity as a leader, to develop his emotional power to engage life, to develop his skills, to be able to incubate that incubated potential, to be able to unleash it. So what happened? That was when he was developing himself in terms of conviction, in terms of his faith. First of all, what he did was to first of all understand who he is. That's what they call self-mastery, self-discovery, self-mastery, and self-ownership. Now he understands his belief system. Now he begin to understand his relationship with himself, with his source, and how he is going to interact with his environment, with other relationships that he's going to encounter. He began to understand his duty at that moment. Now he began to understand the power of finance. He began to understand the power of spirituality. He began to understand the power of health, in terms of emotional health, mindful mind, healthy mind, his sound body, and all that. And he began to understand, his community. And now every community he showed himself, because he has been developed, he has developed his skills and acquired wisdom. We call it the wisdom of old self. He didn't see that rejection as rejection. He just see it as a place of empowerment. Because what you see affects what you say. And what you say, in fact, you condition yourself by. That's why it's a life and death is the power of the tongue. Go and check it. Before you speak, you have seen. And whether you are seeing from a low base or from a higher base, it will be revealed from your speak and your conduct. When you wake up in the morning, your language will determine what you're seeing. Your language is connected to your lens. It's connected to your lens because it's what you're seeing. It's the same thing about two ladies. They had married in a particular family. And for some strange reason, their father-in-law passed on and their husband passed on. And their mother-in-law, because by nature of their culture, because they're married there was supposed to be somebody from that family who would remarry them. And their mother-in-law called them one day, very nice mother-in-law, and asked and said, guys, it's better that I go back to where I'm coming from. I've lost my husband, I've lost my children, and now I do not have the capacity again to have more children. Even if I decide to have more children, are you going to wait for the children? Now she was seeing limitation. One of them turned back and went back to her home because she didn't see possibility of extending or getting another husband. But her friend, her sister, her co-wife say, oh, you know what? I'll go with you. Because your people shall be my people. Your God shall be my God. What does that mean? Inside you, I know that there's a husband. You see, both of them in the same situation created a different outcome completely. It is based on what they are seeing. This one seeing dead end. This one seeing open-ended place. If we understand lens life, it will automatically change our experience in life because this is the fundamental point. That's why I say, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. Let me give you an instance, another thing that has happened to certain people So they had done something and they were afflicted with snakes. So snakes were over there. So they were since the snake down as obstacles. And it's so, I mean, there was a methodology, a solution was created. And that solution was just, okay, you know what? Stop looking down, which is a low level. When you look down, you go down. You get downward experience. Every time you look down on yourself, you're unproductive. You are inefficient. You see darkness. You see dead end. You see worries. You are anxiety. You see bitterness. But now, so there was a construction to shift their lens and say, you know what? Look up. And once you look up, the thought will change. Experiment it. If you're angry, right? If something is upsetting you and you're seeing the object, change the focus. Look away. Find something. You'll be like, you will just shock that at that instant, that stuff that you were focusing, that was energizing you, that was inspiring that or motivating that, will completely change. How do you see yourself? As weak, as little, as powerful, constructive or deconstructive? So let's look at two fundamental principles of how we see. We call it the base lens or the higher lens. Which one do you put on every morning when you wake up? I'm so conscious about how I put on my lens in the morning. But from the moment I wake up, I will ask myself certain questions. And now I say, which lens are you adopting? And I'll tell them, say, baseline. And now in baselines, I will tell you, this is founded by unhealthy mind. And you know, the thing that we think that life is unfair is created by our own unfairness. Unhealthy mind will give you baselines. And this is dominated by ignorance and inflicted emotion. Let me talk about inflicted emotion. You know, we see from the place of experience. You know, one of the things that I'm learning now is to approach each day with newness, with freshness of mind, like it has never existed, with what I call the wow moment, the aha moment. Like I'm exploring. I cannot bring my past experience into my new day. You know, we quote scriptures like it says, his mercies are new every day. So mercy means I release, I forget, I let go of the past experiences and open to new experiences. Inflicted emotion is when you have accumulated and documented in your mental tapestry that, 20 years ago, I lost a car. 10 years ago, they bashed my car. I lent my car to somebody and they messed it up. And now you bring it into a new day. So you're living from the past into the new day. What a compounding inflated emotion. Patrick, are you saying that I should not consider the past? He does exceedingly abundantly above more than you can think or imagine. So if you are thinking from the past, how can the past help you? But let's look at it. Every day is a new day with new grace. I lost a job. You are approaching a new job with almost that inflicted emotion that I lost a job. You know that how people has got pregnant and they lost the baby. You know that the next one, the way they are petting the baby and say, I lost it. Come on, there's no guarantee. And it is that thing that triggers fears. And when you operate from the place of fear, you attract the energy of that fear back to you. Oh, are you saying I shouldn't be careful? Please be careful in joy, not be careful in hatred or in fear, because that fear is an energy which creates after its kind. That's what they call inflected emotion. Which is what we call the conditioned life. Really, the way we live life from the accumulation of experiences from childhood to where we are. That's why you see that people that they did not validate, like maybe your parents were just on you and they are telling you you are worth for nothing. Maybe you know how you were born and they didn't believe that you are going to come. They have finished giving birth and they keep rubbing it on you. You're a child of mistake. How can I be a child of mistake? How? And they keep, oh, I didn't want to have this baby. Oh, it was giving me trouble. And every time, and they're almost going to see you from like a rejected person. And they say it consistently. And you begin to feel that you are different from other children. Like you're not cast. So now it has conditioned you. Now you now think from that moment. You're seeing yourself. So everything people do to you, say, yes, I said it, they have rejected me from birth. Oh my God. I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry about it. You need to relance you. Today we want to give you a new lens that you are complete. You are not a mistake. You came in complete. You are loved. You are beloved of the Father. You've been accepted. You're a good gift. Tell yourself, you know what? And sometimes we are the best. Intelligent, you're a gift. So we don't live from that place of condition. If you live from that, you are living from a low level, what we call baselines. Now, the other thing that shapes our low level is repeated unpleasant experience. Repeated unpleasant experiences. You know how that you keep losing best friends. You keep losing best friends. You're likely going to now, when you get a phone call about your friend, you're almost going to interpret it and say, I hope another one is not happening. That's what they call repeated unpleasant experiences. So you are now seeing life. I'll give you instance. Okay. People has collected my money repeatedly and they won't pay me money. Now, there was a time that when people want to ask, before they even ask, I will already answering them in my mind that I know you are not going to pay me this money, so there's no need to deal with you. That is repeated unpleasant experience. But what it does is shut us down from the possibility of other people who are not like them, so we're viewing them. Okay, let's say you have had a deal with a certain people from a region. Maybe, for instance, let's say I'm from a state of A, and I did a business with somebody from that state of A, and it didn't go well. Then I did another business with another person for some reason from that state. And it didn't still go well. What we call didn't go well by measurement. Now, if you're going to do the third one, and for some reason, and the person say, I'm from this A state, you are going to see him from that repeated experience. Maybe this one was supposed to be the one that will restore the days that the cankerworm and the palmer worm. But because you have already conditioned in these repeated experiences, you're going to judge it. You see how our lens, I'm taking time. We also see from the place of weakness. And the other one is the place of threat. Maybe you're in an organization where your former boss was always threatening you. You left that job and you say, oh, thank God, you moved to another job and your boss started threatening you. Now, let me tell you what is repeating. Because you have not changed the lens of threat, you are thinking the thought of threat is within you. It has not been reparented. It has not been released. You have not made peace with it. You have not accepted it. The more you think about it, it will create fear. It will create uncertainty. And because of that threat, it is within your region. And you're seeing it from there. There are also people who doesn't see anything good in life. They have a lens to see there's nothing to convince them that there's anything, because they lost their mom when at the prime of their life. They lost their dad, or they lost a lost one, and loss has become part of them. So it has now colored them that there's nothing good. The moment they want to see something good that will come to them, now they are influenced by those colored experiences. And the other one I'm going to deal with is about, you see yourself from the place of insecurity. I mean, when you talk about people who defend, go and check within them is insecurity. An insecure person will see himself as do you see yourself as insecure? And one of the ways to know that you are insecure is defense and irritation. And this is why we're bringing this, because these are hidden things that we don't even know what is influencing our manifestation, our experiences. Then there's a lens of self-doubt. Lens of self-doubt. There's a lens of competition. Competition rob you of your naturalness. Competition rob you of your authenticity. Competition rob you of your natural power to flow from your nature, because we have said nature nurtures. There's also what we call the isolation, where you are isolated. You like to be indifferent because of repeated experiences. There's the one for scarcity base. There's one for entitlement. Have you seen people who are so entitled in life? They see everything from the place of entitlement. I'm going to close with the comment about loneliness and rejection. One of the reasons why people end up in wrong places is occasioned by loneliness. Oh, I'm so lonely. See, when you're lonely, it is not people that will give you, that will heal you from loneliness, really. Because you see, a lonely person will seek after loneliness, because you now feel that it is external people who will feel you. Because you are lonely, you're going to seek people who will feed that need. But that when the people are out, you will see going back into that lonely place. People have taken decision, get married because they feel lonely. There are also people who see from the place of abuse. Why? Because consistently life seems to have abused them. And now they are seeing life from the place of abuse. So every little trigger, they are abused. They are rejected. Now, let's look about a bit of higher lens. I brought all these whole things. There are a lot of them, but I need to summarize them. Let's look at higher lens. This is founded upon an enlightened mind. When your mind is enlightened, when you come into awareness, it broadens your mind. I read that scripture. It said, if you then reason with Christ, that means you have come from the base lens into a higher lens. It's funded by a healthy mind. Don't forget, we talked about base minds are constructed in unhealthy mind. But now you have a healthy mind. You have a sound mind. You have a transformed mind. So higher lens are centered on competence. I read something. It said wisdom and skill and understanding will lay prosperity and solid found, whatever in your life. It centers on competence. It centers on opportunities. So it means that if I see dead companies, I'm not looking at it from a dead company like people will see that it's a dead company. I'm seeing opportunity to reinvent that company. I read something that really challenged me about a particular gentleman. This gentleman had worked for his boss and for 7 years, and the boss did not pay him the adequate payment or salary or wages or something was supposed to assign to him. So he cheated him. He didn't look at the cheat, he looked at his capacity and say, hey, this is an opportunity to even do more to showcase me. Because when opposition or contrary things happened, that's what will reveal the kind of lens you have. Because for us, loss is gain. Obstacles are opportunities. Closed doors are opportunities. Rejections are opportunities. In fact, at some point, sickness are opportunities, because those are channel of awakening into a higher consciousness. You see how higher lens sees opportunity. When you see people who people have rejected, what do you see? No, higher lens thrives on optimism. This is about faith, it's about belief system. This is about yes to life. Higher lens see possibilities. Higher lens see what we call self-assurance. We talked about self-doubt in the lower lens, but here this is self-assurance. Because you see, there's a self-belief that inspires your possibilities, and that possibilities unlock richer you to gain access to the mastery that unveil that possibility. So the first thing really in higher lens is self-acceptance. I'm not comparing myself with any situation. I'm not comparing myself with anybody. I am good enough. In fact, most of my errors are part of who I am today. My past experiences have enriched my today. My flaws have enriched my capacity today. My rejections have enriched my capacity today. That's self-acceptance. That's the first time when you're now seeing yourself as a place of responsibility, not in terms of reaction. Self-acceptance is the core. How you see yourself is the core. How can I see myself as weak? Because you see, self-acceptance will begin to tailor your self-belief. And everything you are going to accomplish in life is in your self-belief. Because once you doubt yourself, you are like a dancing mind. And a dancing mind cannot constructively design a life that is efficient and effective. Because you have no solidity in your faith to be able to marshal out, to construct ideas that are solid, that you thrive upon. I mean, we'll say, hey, I'm planted in the court of the Lord and I will flourish. So it's a flourishing place. You see, when delays occur in a higher lens, we don't call it delay, we call it a place of potential. Because the place of potential is something to broaden you and to be able to revolve your mind from a single view to a broader view. Because we know in part, because what we think is delay is actually a fabrication, it's like a factory that will enable you to forge solution and strategy in order to advance to whatever problem that is external. So delays are place of forging. Like those that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Because it's better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. Because house of mourning could be delayed, but yet it is forging such a solid personality, such a mental construct that can withstand anything. Is a place of solution. In higher level, talk about we don't look at problem, we look at solution. Higher levels talk about knowledge, and knowledge brings clarity. Because self-doubt is because you do not have clarity of the path. In higher lens, we see the richness from the place of completeness. When you see yourself from the place of incompleteness, you are now a slave to people. Higher connection is a place of companionship rather than indifference. Is a place of forgiveness. In lower life, they hold on to error. They capitalize on error. But in here, we release. It's a place of mercy. It suspends judgment. So we don't see error because we also know that we are human. And we are more prone to mercy rather than we tend to holding on to grudges. It's a place of healing. It's a place of adaptability. I was listening to something recently, and I travel a lot. And when I travel a lot, you're likely going to come from, let's say you have a very nice home. And in that home, you have set up your house the way it's supposed to be, your toilet system, and you know how to wash it, but now you travel a whole lot. When you travel a lot, you're likely going to bring your preposition. You see what we're talking about, position of your house and travel. No, carry your house into all the countries. Don't touch it. You say, oh, this toilet is not nice. Please, you are comparing it from where you are. But it's not them that will bring that idea, because that idea is your own idea, but their own idea is their best idea at that point in time. So what is adaptability? It's ability to understand that you cannot carry your home to where you're going, but you have to bring your mind and adapt to that situation. Does that mean I'm going to devalue myself to adapt? No. It means that in that toilet that is not good, make it up. And otherwise, that's why people get heightened. Because the burdens may not suit you. There was a time I was almost carrying a pillow and be traveling. How? That's depression. It kills. Adaptability it's such a higher lens. It's a place of growth. Listen. If you don't grow internally, you can't grow externally. Your personal development will determine how far you can go. Speed is not in acceleration. Speed is in growth. It is growth that accelerates you. But we see it from the other end. We just see that, okay, if I meet somebody who will give me 20 million now, I will blow. No, if you give me 20 million, you are looking at it from a place of big, but you are not looking at it from the place of growth and that's why most businesses have remained where they are. Because they are thinking that when I hit the blow, no, it is the compounding small that bring growth. It's a place of clarity. I've talked about that. In fact, one of the characteristics of Higher lens is it sees in plenty, not in lack, not in scarcity. It sees plenty. I recall one time, like things were, for some reason, there was a holiday and there was another holiday, so then we didn't have as much as ATM that we have here, fund transfers and all that. So you had to literally go to the bank and take cash and all that. And then what I had in that house was tomatoes and red oil and scent leaf and what they call some piece of onion. I saw that I have plenty. In fact, in the house, they say, the house is dead. But I say, how can you call this house? Give me the stuff. I made sauce out of the plenty in the house. That is why you see, if you give people same commodity to two different people, the outcome and the test of what you have given to them is a function of what they see in those condiments, how they interact with those condiments. They will say, this is not enough. It will never be enough. But this one say, hey, I can make something out of it. Lens of plenty will change your entire life. I'll talk about is a place of gratitude. Now, what keep you in perpetual stagnation is what you do not have. Because what you do not have will not give you gratitude. But what you have is the accelerator to what you don't have. It means that you say, I'll be happy if I drive a car. If you're not happy that you're trekking, you may not be able to find that car. Be happy that you're trekking. Be grateful that you have a leg. Be grateful that you have the strength. Until I move into that 3-bedroom flat, hey, my life will not start. You are postponing. It's called deferred happiness. That's what they call deferred happiness. But when you see plenty, you just say, this 1 bedroom, I'm going to create 3-bedroom out of 1 bedroom. And that's how 3-bedroom will come. Because if you're not faithful in small, so you see, the lens is the critical factor. And how you see this lens. People think that it's material thing that makes them feel that they are blessing. They are blessed people. Oh, bless me. I am blessed. The effect is the effect of blessing. You cannot measure me like I'm a blessed man because of a house, of a car, or because I have X, Y, Z. No, those are the aftermath. So I'm seeing myself, I wake up as I'm a blessed person because blessing is a state, it's a being. And so how we see suffer is a function of who we are and our responsibility. But let me break where I'm going. So to help us, we either see life from a place of completeness. What? What's that? Now, you either see your life from a place of completeness or incomplete. Let me explain. Maybe you're going out for an occasion and you have food. You just satisfy yourself. When you go to a party, you're not going to look for item 7 because you're full. Whether they serve you or they don't serve you, you will enjoy yourself because it takes satisfaction to find satisfaction. It takes completeness to connect to completeness. So when you see yourself from incomplete, you become a slave to external world. But when you see yourself from complete, the Bible says we are complete in Christ Jesus, lacking nothing. I dare you every day, start seeing yourself from complete. You will change your language. It will change your disposition. It will change your performance. It will change your connection to people. It will change how you define things. The second one, from wholeness. I come to tell you, listen, you are complete. Whether you eat or you don't eat. One day I will tell you that poverty is not a bad thing. I know people will throw stone on me, but it's okay. But poverty is not a bad thing. In fact, I think that that's where God lives, because God lives in emptiness. When I say this, people think about it from a material position, not from a spiritual position. But they read the Bible and say, "Blessed are the poor in heart, for they shall see God." So who told us that poverty is bad? I mean, these are things that we begin to deepen into ourselves, because emptiness and space and limitlessness is where God thrives. He said the eighth was without form. That's poverty, isn't it? He now said, "Let there be light." Come on. Let nobody deceive you. You are completely. And let no material disposition define you. I'm saying things, please research. When you're full, you're full. That's what Jesus said. You can't put an old new wine into an old wine. It has what? Empty out, isn't it? That emptiness is not what? It seems like lack. That's where God lives. Wholeness. Do you see from the place of generosity? That's a place of kindness. Be kind to yourself. Stop judging yourself. You don't have a child, you're whole. You don't have a job, you're whole. Be kind. When you become kind to yourself, life will be kind to you. Because you are too unkind, because the lens of unkindness is what you use in judging yourself. Be kind. Wake up and be kind to yourself. You will see that your life become like in generosity. The liberal heart is made fat. Lens of openness. You're too rigid. We're too rigid. We see life. He said, "In my father's house, there are many mansions." If it were not so, I would have told you. So move from one state to another state. There are many, if I read that scripture, it said, he has 1,000 ways to save you. Be open. And finally, the lens of gratitude. I'm going to stop it over here.